Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Saiful bin Rosmizal. My student ID is 622-1512-527. I will discuss about negotiation tip of France. Here are 5 tips on how to succeed at a negotiation in France. The first one, prepare your argument and know your weak point. Make sure you know your argument well enough to be able to defend it, or you will never succeed in convincing another person that your option is the one they should follow. Second one, prepare responses to potential counter-argument. Your argument will be stronger and you will know how to respond when they bring up the weak point in your argument. Third, be respectful. Avoid the people you are negotiation with unless you know them well and they have specifically allow you to them. Make sure you don't cut off who you are negotiation with. If you cut them off, you are showing a lack of respect. This means that they will less likely to show you the same respect, and you will have a harder time trying to convince them to agree to your idea. And lastly, know when to listen. Listen to the argument of to who you are negotiation with. You need to be respectful in order to gain their trust, and you can learn a lot from listening to their argument. That's all from me, and I will pass to Zaza.
Thank you, Adam. My name is Nur Zahirah, and now I'll be presenting about negotiation process in France. So it starts with relationship and respect. For commercial engagements in France, establishing enduring connections based on trust is crucial, and they typically aren't a prerequisite for initial commercial interactions though. The French frequently concentrate on long-term goals and anticipate building solid ties throughout their professional partnerships. This requires time and work, and early friendliness tends to raise suspicion, while being too casual can be perceived as being intrusive. Proper conduct is essential in the early stages of relationship development, and it is preferable to come across as relatively reserved. Asking personal questions should wait till the connection is more established. And the second one would be communication. French is the official language of the nation. There are, however, numerous other tongues and dialects. Over the past 10 or 2 years, English has gained significantly in acceptance in France as the global business language. Younger business people typically speak English fluently. On rare situations, using an interpreter may be beneficial. Ask in advance if an interpreter should be present at a meeting to prevent insulting the other side. Avoid using jargon and slang when speaking. In short, basic sentences in English. It will benefit persons with a limited grasp of English if you speak slowly. Summarize crucial concepts and pause regularly to allow for interpretation. And lastly is the initial contacts and meetings. Even though it is frequently not a requirement, having a local contact might be helpful while conducting business here. In France, either lone negotiators or team of negotiators can conduct negotiations. Plan meetings at least 2 weeks in advance if you can. Give the French information on the names, positions, and duties of the participants in advance because they like to know who they will be meeting. Setting an agenda in advance is advised but not always required. Meetings may not always begin on time, but in general, the French expect international visitors to be on time. Do not arrive more than 10 to 15 minutes late, and if you must, phone beforehand. Next, for the bargaining behaviors, it might be frustrating to deal with French bureaucrats. Dedication to logical argumentation and rhetoric, a preoccupation with defending the French position rather than reaching consensus, an aggressive and frequently haughty nationalism, a frequent assertion on France's universal message, resentment of Anglo-Saxon and particularly US power and influence, and a willingness to use the media to deliver scathing criticism are all characteristics of the French mindset. I'll pass the next presentation to Syamil. Thank you.
Thank you, Zahirah. Next, I want to explain you about decision making. And for the first, we know as French dealer rarely make important decisions inside a meeting. Prologues discussion as they regard it is an intellectual exercise during which is familiarizing with others party and perhaps discovering their weakness. They will not make concessions in negotiation during the dialogues. They remain intransigent but without weakness. It is because of French language often depart from the agenda. And next, communication style usually that used by French person is often determined by their social status, level of education, and which part of country they raise in. Sometimes they use their own regional dialect to interact with another
So I will continue discuss about conflict management in France. Conflict management in France are a Latin pupil by the language and the behavior. They are passionate and emotion cannot be ignored in business use of emotion technique such as at internal bargaining. Sending dua messages, attempting to make you feel guilty, reminiscing, or appealing to personal relationship, remain calm and composed. Repeating the argument that support your position defensive, tactics such as changing the subject, blocking, asking probing, or direct question. Making promise or keeping an inflexible position. That's all from me. Thank you.